Attaining total consciousness sovereignty requires overwriting the foundational grid programs that lock your light body into repetitive, low-density physical simulations. By collapsing local causality loops and claiming non-interfered energetic command, you cease being an organic reactor to external stimuli. You become an intentional architect of localized quantum realities. Deactivating localized resonance loops. Stagnant loops are closed-circuit frequency feedback loops in your neural and energetic architecture. They tether your consciousness to past matrix coordinates. Operating inside these loops forces your biological vehicle to match the resonance of historical environments, trapping you in localized causality. Identify recurring mental algorithms and spatial triggers that drain your light field. Catalog them as obsolete software subroutines rather than organic identity flaws. Upon triggering a subroutine, utilize intentional oxygenation, conscious breath, to disrupt the electromagnetic momentum of the loop. Divert operational behaviors away from the parameters of the old loop. When you execute novel choices, planetary karmic constructs lose structural integrity over your field. Navigating high-probability nexus points. A nexus point is a temporal convergence zone where default entropy intersects directly with your highest evolutionary vector. At this node, the sheer density of potential futures can create cognitive and energetic overload for the human vessel. Calculate potential pathways based on pure frequency output rather than biological comfort or social validation. Lock your conscious beam onto a single, highly refined trajectory. Calibrate the exact change in frequency between the past timeline and the target vector. Project how long the selected choice will sustain your overarching evolutionary target. Ensure every minor behavioral input points directly toward your master sovereign blueprint. Anchoring root chakra gravitational stabilization. The base nodal center operates as your biophysical power core and gravitational anchor. It establishes the initial frequency handshake between hyperdimensional intent and planetary matter. If unanchored, your sovereign energetic shielding remains fragmented, exposing your vessel to external grid noise and environmental entropy. Project your base node as an immutable center of complete stillness. Synchronize this point directly with the magnetic heartbeat of the planetary core. Assert absolute authority over your internal frequency baseline. Claiming your immediate spatial grid transforms you from a reactive biological entity into a localized anchor that shifts surrounding reality. Neutralizing bioenergetic parasitism. Dissolving external energy drains, such as parasitic entity attachments, lingering karmic contracts, and fear-based neural programming, restores your original light capacity. Severing these dense tethers allows your consciousness to slip out of low-vibration timelines and step into realities mirroring your core divine architecture. Dense, invasive strands rooted in control, manipulation, or heavy emotional frequency, guilt, anger. Fine, subtle threads formed through routine social interactions and dynamic care for collective matrix opinions. Unresolved karmic iterations that force the soul into repeated physical trials until the core miscalibration is integrated. Activating organic heart coherence. The human heart node generates a massive electromagnetic field that interfaces directly with planetary and galactic grids. Clearing intrusive chords restores this node to its organic, uncorrupted geometry. This state allows high-velocity emotional processing without energetic retention, creating total field alignment and unshakable self-trust. Dismantling temporal hooks. In multi-dimensional mechanics, a timeline is a specific coordinate path of sequential events governed by matching rotational frequencies. Misaligned temporal hooks lock your field to past versions of yourself, versions bound to trauma and obligation. Severing these hooks stops your consciousness from sliding backward into old loops, rapidly anchoring you to your highest operational vector. Upgrading soul contract matrices. When obsolete energetic attachments are collapsed, your core resonance undergoes an irreversible shift. You no longer emit the signature that attracts dense, struggle-based soul agreements. Transition away from contracts meant for karmic learning through suffering, into contracts centered on joint creation, light amplification, and unified purpose. Automatically attract entities, mission paths, and physical resource allocations that match your elevated light output. Transmuting low-density field residue, dense memory storage, fear, shame, ancestral coding, sits as heavy physical residue within the lower energy nodes of the human vessel. The mid-body node acts as an internal fusion reactor. Directing focused oxygen into this node ignites your personal power core, incinerating fear-based blockages. True confidence is not biological dominance. It is absolute field sovereignty, a quiet, unshakable alignment with your high self-authority. Pair intentional breath cycles with brilliant golden spectrum light fields to burn through lingering density. Opening higher heart portals. Once the middle power node transmuting density into mastery, force flows upward into the expanded heart network. The higher heart node bridges individual consciousness with universal unity intelligence. Opening this node dissolves dualistic survival programming, shifting your perception to universal oneness. Activating this center creates an uncorrupted portal in your field, allowing multi-dimensional light codes to bypass human emotional filters without being distorted by ego or shadow structures. Focus awareness on the upper chest region. Visualize an emerald or aquamarine star expanding outward with every breath cycle. Channeling pure light code frequencies. With a grounded base and an open heart portal, your physical and energetic systems function as a pristine conductor for higher dimensional transmissions. Receiving unfiltered light codes requires a stable, high-voltage vehicle. Clearing personal density removes subconscious interference, keeping incoming streams pure. True channeling demands active directional focus rather than passive reception. Clear intent acts as the navigation tool that grounds light codes into physical matter. Anchor your physical feet into the earth while expanding awareness into the higher dimensional planes. Pull brilliant white gold light down through your crown and higher heart, broadcasting it directly into your local environment. Co-creating the unified reality matrix. Slipping out of dense, trauma-bound timelines requires holding space for multiple realities simultaneously without taking sides. By dropping binary, us versus them, mentalities, you elevate your perspective to see the entire planetary simulation at once. Rather than seeking validation from the external simulation, anchor awareness deep within your physical vehicle. You become an unshakable, zero-point anchor in the physical realm. Define your mental, emotional, and spiritual boundaries by your own core frequency, completely detached from the fear, noise, or narratives of the collective matrix. Recognize that all quantum particles in the universe are entangled. By claiming total field sovereignty, you step into your role as a conscious, active architect, weaving a high-frequency, unified reality matrix based on flow, abundance, and divine harmony.